If you were to ask someone on the street who Tyrannosaurus Rex had the biggest rivalry with, they'd probably say Spinosaurus. This is largely due to the influence of Jurassic Park 3, where a Spinosaurus takes down a T-Rex. Many people believe that the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park actually lived together, leading to the widespread idea that Spinosaurus and T-Rex engaged in frequent death matches. And now, thanks to that movie, some even think Giganotosaurus faced off against T-Rex as well. But the truth is, neither Spinosaurus nor Giganotosaurus ever encountered T-Rex. They were separated by millions of years. In reality, T-Rex's true nemesis wasn't a theropod at all, but a herbivore, the only known animal to have ever injured a T-Rex. Triceratops. If you have any interest in dinosaurs or paleontology, the name Triceratops should sound very familiar. Over time, Triceratops has become iconic thanks to its unique appearance and massive size. But ironically, despite its fame, Triceratops wasn't even originally named Triceratops due to a major misclassification. When it was first discovered, paleontologists thought it was a mammal. This happened after a pair of brow horns were found in Colorado in 1887. They were sent to the famous paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh, who believed these horns belonged to an ancient bison, not a dinosaur. He named it Bison alticornis and left it at that. One reason Marsh might have made this mistake is that, at the time, no one knew ceratopsian dinosaurs even existed. This discovery came just a year after the brow horns were unearthed when Marsh introduced the world to Ceratops, the first horned dinosaur. In the same year, a cowboy stumbled upon a massive skull sticking out of a ravine. Like other horned dinosaur remains, it was sent to Marsh, who classified it as a new species of Ceratops. A year later, a well-preserved skull that matched this so-called new Ceratops was found. The only difference? This skull had all three horns, leading Marsh to finally acknowledge that the new Ceratops species and his bison were not only the same animal, but also a completely new genus of horned dinosaur, which he named Triceratops, meaning three-horned face. The discovery of Triceratops was a huge deal, not only because of the media attention it generated, but also because of its role in dinosaur classification. Triceratops is classified under the ceratopsid family, and more specifically the Triceratops tribe, alongside its closest relative, Torosaurus. Outside of classification, Triceratops became a massive hit thanks to its giant skull and strange horns. New fossil formations like Hell Creek were discovered, revealing that there had been more than one species of Triceratops. Since the 19th century, over 15 species have been described, but only 2 are considered valid today: Triceratops horridus and Triceratops prorsus. From a distance, both species might look similar, but they had their differences. Horridus typically had a longer snout and a shorter nasal horn, while prorsus had a shorter snout and a longer nasal horn. Although in one aspect they were very similar size. The largest known specimen, dubbed Big John, belonged to Horridus, giving it a slight edge. But overall, both species were absolute giants. An adult Triceratops was among the largest non-sauropods of its time, measuring between 26 to 30 feet in length and weighing anywhere from 6 to 10 tons. Exceptionally large individuals could weigh up to 12 tons, making them heavier than even the Tyrannosaurus, and a contender for the largest ceratopsian of all time. To put that in perspective, a 12-ton Triceratops would weigh as much as 6 average-sized cars or 120 average-sized American men. This immense size made mature adults fairly safe in their environment. But because Triceratops lived during the age of dinosaurs, specifically alongside one of the largest theropods we know of, size alone wasn't always enough. Triceratops evolved some pretty powerful defenses, one of which was its bones. Many ceratopsians had robust builds, but Triceratops was particularly sturdy, with bones far thicker than what's normally seen in dinosaurs. This is clearly demonstrated when you compare a Triceratops femur with that of an exceptionally large African elephant. This robustness provided it with protection against injury and was further enhanced by its low-set body and lower center of gravity. However, even remarkably thick bones couldn't top Triceratops's ultimate defense: its giant skull. Triceratops possessed a massive head that could make up more than 1/3 of its total length. The largest recorded skulls were 8.2 feet long, making them among the largest skulls of any terrestrial animal. While it might not have been the largest land animal overall, one reason its head was so big was thanks to a widened frill at the top, which likely had a multifunctional role in both courtship displays, possibly being brightly colored, and in defense against large predators. There is solid evidence to support the idea that the frill acted as a defensive tool since it covered the neck, a highly vulnerable area. The frill was made of fibrolamellar bone, a special type known to heal rapidly once damaged and to regrow in a short time. The sheer size of the frill may also have helped prevent successful attacks by acting as a form of intimidation. But if the frill failed, Triceratops had one more trick up its sleeve: its legendary horns. These weapons need no introduction, as they are Triceratops's signature feature, greatly contributing to its fierce reputation. All three horns were exceptionally sharp and long, with the two above its eyes being the largest, sometimes measuring 3.77 feet long, equivalent to 2 rhino horns stacked on top of each other. Most paleontologists are certain that in life, Triceratops' horns were covered in keratin sheaths, as seen in modern-day mammals, implying that they were actually even bigger. Over the years, numerous theories on the function of these horns have been proposed, with the most popular being that they were used to combat T-Rex. However, there is immense debate over this claim, and a more accepted theory is that the horns were primarily designed for battle, not against theropods, but against other Triceratops. These intraspecific duels would have been savage, with Triceratops charging at high speeds and clashing with their horns interlocked. Fights likely occurred over mating rights or territory, and studies have found that such combat was the rule, not the exception. A review of Triceratops skulls found that 14% had injuries to the head that matched what you'd expect from a horn piercing a skull. Even the most famous Triceratops specimen, Big John, didn't escape the brutal lifestyle these ceratopsians led. His skull had a gaping hole in the frill, believed to have been caused by a rival and possibly leading to his death after the wound became infected. Clearly, despite often being portrayed as typically docile herbivores, Triceratops could be quite ferocious with their horns. Combined with their frill and size, they were one tough creature, even by Cretaceous standards. So fierce, in fact, that they occasionally used their weapons and defenses against their only known predator, Tyrannosaurus Rex. At the time, T-Rex was the only carnivore large enough to pose a threat to mature Triceratops. Predation certainly happened, as some specimens show damage to the skull and body that could only have been caused by a Rex's tooth. However, unlike what most people might think, battles between these two weren't always one-sided. To date, Triceratops remains the only dinosaur, or animal for that matter, known to have injured a T-Rex, as evidenced by fossil remains. The clearest example of this is the fossil known as the dueling dinosaurs, an extraordinary specimen consisting of a juvenile T-Rex and an adult Triceratops locked together in death. It is believed they didn't kill each other, but instead died from unknown external forces. Nevertheless, both were severely injured, with the T-Rex suffering most of the damage. Its teeth were shattered, a finger was broken, and its skull was cracked, while the Triceratops just had a tooth embedded in it. Some speculate that the Triceratops was the attacker, based on the Rex's condition, though this is heavily debated. Interestingly enough, another case of potential Triceratops on T-Rex violence may also have been the result of an aggressive Triceratops. A large adult T-Rex, known as dueling Rex, has an intriguing hole in the back of its left femur that resembles a puncture wound. Due to the shape and size of the injury, some paleontologists believe a large ceratopsian, likely Triceratops, rammed the T-Rex from behind as it stood up, indicating a sneak attack, a true prehistoric case of call the ambulance but not for me. Furthermore, paleontologist Peter Dodson believes that in a fair direct confrontation between a bull Triceratops and T-Rex, the fight was actually more in favor of Triceratops.